you telling me that the Flyers, in the first game of the round-robin tournament, beat the Boston Bruins by a score of 4-1? Let's go! Let's go! Like I said, the Flyers beat the Boston Bruins by a score of 4-1. Carter Hart with 34 out of 35 saves. The kid was magnificent today. That's what we need in goaltending. That's what the city has been deprived of for so long. And we finally have a young guy, a 21-year-old in net. I remind you that. It's crazy how young this guy is. I'm 1 year older than him. I'm 22 and he was 21 playing in the National Hockey League, being a starting goaltender competing for the Stanley Cup. And what am I doing? I'm sitting here, I'm 22 years old, recording a reaction video of the Philadelphia Flyers beating the Boston Bruins. It's just how it is. But this game, oh, it was great. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Carter Hart, fantastic. The goals by the Flyers, unbelievable. They were great. The young defenseman in this game, the young defenseman stood out so much. Ivan Provorov logging in another casual, just 25 plus minutes. He just did it. Maybe it's the flow. Maybe it's the long locks in the caveman beard. Maybe it's the hockey look that Provorov has, and he just I'll play casual 25 minutes. You get Travis Sanheim and Phil Myers chipping in on the offense, making some fantastic plays. Oh, the young defensemen were chipping in today. And the bottom six, the depth on this team, scoring. And granted, when I look at a lot of teams around the NHL, and I'm going to put bias aside, even though my answer is basically going to be biased because I'm choosing the Flyers, but when I look around a lot of teams in the NHL, there's only like a few that stand out as teams that are really, really deep. I see teams like Colorado. I see teams like Tampa Bay. I say you could put Boston in there. Boston's a great team. I put the Flyers in there too. The Flyers, the way they stand out to their system, the way they just go out there and they roll four lines, the way Elaine Vigneault and his coaching staff just puts the four lines out there, they can all compete and they're all going to be a dominant force out there. They're all going to make trouble when those guys hit the ice, when those specific lines hit the ice, and when those specific D pairings hit the ice. You know it's not going to be an easy task. When you're playing a team that's this deep, it's amazing. It's simply amazing. And granted, I've said this on the podcast before, the Flyered Up podcast. You should go subscribe to it on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you can find your podcasts at. I've said this on the podcast many times. I believe the round robin tournament, and I firmly believe this, is a glorified exhibition game. And you can definitely tell when watching the game firsthand, it's not as intense. When you look at the qualifying rounds, the play-in series, those are a lot more intense. That's playoff hockey right there. These teams are fighting for their playoff hopes to get into the actual tournament. That is playoff hockey right there. And when you look at the round-robin tournament, it's not as intense. The two teams that played today, well, the two games that were actually played today, they weren't as intense. They weren't mucking and grinding. They weren't beating each other up. Because basically, both of all these teams that are in the round robin tournament, they know they're in the playoffs. Even though statistically, these games do matter in terms of points because they do carry over into the actual playoffs. But these teams know they're actually making the playoffs. This is basically just for reseeding. And hey, the Flyers, they faced a really good opponent in the Boston Bruins. President's Trophy winning Boston Bruins. 100-plus point season for them. And the Flyers gave it to them. The Flyers played really good. And like I said, it's a glorified exhibition game, but I like it when the team can go out there and just go out there and beat really good talent. Beat a really good team like the Boston Bruins. And they beat them in very solid fashion. If you look at the first period, yes, Boston did give it to the Flyers a lot. They were pounding pucks on net. Even though none of them were dangerous chances, Carter Hart was there. He was sound. He was there to make the saves. And the Flyers didn't look like they were dying out. They were just hanging on there. They were mucking and grinding and waiting for their chance to proceed. And the Flyers had a couple scoring chances of their own in that first period. Claude Giroux had a 2-on-1. You wish he would have shot it there, but he decided to pass instead. And granted, you could say that out a lot of plays in this game. The Flyers did have a little bit of odd man rushes in this game where they could have taken the shot, but they did decide to pass. There are a lot of players on this team that are a little too pass happy, and you would wish they would shoot, but sometimes that's just how it is. There's a lot of playmakers on this team. There's a lot of pass happy players, and sometimes you're going to get the pass option more than the shot. And then Claude Giroux had another fantastic chance on the power play with a hammer of a one-timer. Just dings right off the post on the power play. And throughout the first period, I feel like Boston had more of the upper hand, but we go into the intermission scoreless. The Flyers were in the game. They weren't dying out. Carter Hart was there, standing tall to make saves. And we were getting our own opportunities too. And the Flyers in the second period was amazing. The Flyers, when they realized they were still in this game, they were sticking to the system. They were rolling their four lines. They went out there in the second period and just gave it to Boston offensively. We do this over 5 minutes into the first period. And let's talk about the young defensemen, because the young defensemen were chipping a lot into the offense tonight. And that goes on the first goal too. Boston, they were trying to clear the zone. Travis Sanheim makes a fantastic play to keep the puck into the zone. He brings it up the middle, and then he makes a great pass over to Michael Raffl, who goes backhand past Jaroslav Halak for a 1-0 Flyers lead. Fantastic play there by Travis Sanheim. Fantastic goal there by Michael Raffl. Make it 1-0 Flyers. And the bottom six, they just continue to get points in this game. Nate Thompson, not too long later, like 3-4 minutes, the Flyers are in the zone. Ivan Provorov brings it through the neutral zone, sets up the play, gives it to Michael Raffl, and then you get Nate Thompson over in the left side, over in the left circle. And there's a little bit of stuff going on around the net. Charlie Coyle's falling near Jaroslav Halak, and there's Nate Thompson in the left circle, just decides to take a simple snapshot, and it goes over the shoulder of Jaroslav Halak. It's a 2-0 Flyers lead, and the Flyers, they were continuing to get chances, and granted there was a penalty here and there for both teams, but both teams weren't able to chip in on their respective power plays, and the penalty kills were good. And Carter Hart making saves, the Flyers were getting their chances, but then you go in towards late in the period, like around a minute and a half left, you get Chris Wagner, and you would not want the Flyers to allow a late goal in the period to give the other team momentum, because you don't want to do it in the playoffs. That is going to kill you if you go into the 16-team tournament. You're playing a full round series, you have the lead, and you cough it up late in a period. That's not going to roll well. You do not want to give that other team momentum going into the next period. So it's a 2-1 Flyers lead from there off of Wagner's goal, and it was a fluky goal. Really can't blame anyone there. He tried to wrap it around. He loses it a little bit. Carter Hart was playing the angle perfectly, so Wagner loses the puck, and then it just goes off of Haig's skate. You really can't do anything about that. It's a very fluky goal, but it's still a goal that you do not want to give up that late into a period, so you don't give the other team momentum. But speaking of momentum, Boston didn't have any of it. The Flyers responded 8 seconds later, and it's Phil Myers. A great face-off win by the first line. There's a little bit of a puck scramble by the Boston bench. Phil Myers jumps on the puck 2-on-1, and he snipes it past Jaroslav Halak. All net, nothing but net. And it's a 3-1 Flyers lead. That's how you respond. That's how you respond to giving up a goal. And the Flyers did it perfectly. Boston, they were about to have the momentum. Flyers said, nope, you're not getting it. We're going to make it 3-1 and take our 2-goal lead right back. And then we go into the third period. Scott Laughton has a 2-on-1 with Travis Konechny, and he snipes it over the glove of Halak for a 4-1 Flyers lead. 4-1 Flyers lead in the third period. And then we go later into the period. The Flyers give up a penalty. They kill that off. And then Boston, they decide to pull Halak. And then they're just pounding pucks on Carter Hart. Pounding pucks. And he's there to make the save. He is there to make the saves every single time. He is standing tall in net. And that is how your game ends. By a score of 4-1. Flyers played fantastic. They played a great game. They stuck to the system. They rolled four lines out there. And they gave it to the Bruins. Granted, like I said, I do believe the round-robin tournament is a glorified exhibition game. But I do like it when the Flyers go out there and they compete against the good talent. They compete against these top teams right here. They beat Pittsburgh in the exhibition game. They played really good right there. They stuck to the system. They did the same exact thing here tonight against Boston. Granted, they were getting it given to them in the first period by Boston, and they stood tall. Carter Hart was there to make the saves, and the Flyers didn't die down. They responded right in the second period knowing that They were in this game, they didn't allow a goal, and then it was their turn to make a response. And they made a big response, scoring 4 goals and beating the Boston Bruins by a score of 4-1. Great game there by the Flyers. Fantastic. What a way to start off the round robin tournament. Great way. And like this is basically just for reseeding. I don't think the Flyers may want to get an advantage getting a higher seed in the Eastern Conference, but to me, I feel like the Flyers are fine wherever they land. They can land in 4th. They can land in 3rd, 2nd, 1st. I feel like they're going to be fine because when you get into the playoffs, teams that have a lot of depth, those are the teams that win the Stanley Cups. Teams that have depth, they can roll out 4 lines, and they have a goaltender in Carter Hart, and they have a solid defense like we have right now. It's really, really something special that the Flyers are cooking up right now. Granted, we are not into the 16-team tournament playoffs just yet, but the Flyers, they're just getting warmed up. I do feel like this team can do something very special. Everyone in Philadelphia, all the Flyers fans, they feel something different about this team. They feel it's definitely nowhere close to where we were in the Dave Haxtell era. No, we haven't felt a way about a Flyers team basically since, I would say, around 2012, when Peter Laviolette was still the coach and we had Ilya Brzgalov as our goaltender. Oh, boy. Don't want to think about that again, because we have Carter Hart. We have a 21-year-old Carter Hart, and he is going to be special for us, especially in this playoff run and going into the future for the Philadelphia Flyers. It's going to be great. I can't wait for the actual playoffs to start. And just watching the play-in tournament, playoff hockey is back. I love it. All the games that were on Saturday, amazing. Amazing games to watch. Teams were fighting for their lives right there in the first game of the series, and it was great. It's nice to watch playoff hockey. It is back, and the Philadelphia fans can somewhat relax from yesterday's loss by the Philadelphia 76ers. They can somewhat relax right there, and we can rejoice. We can enjoy the Philadelphia Flyers. We can embrace them. It's going to be a fun ride. The Flyers do play Thursday against the Washington Capitals, and then they have a couple days off right here from now to Thursday, and then that next Saturday, at the end of the week, they're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's going to finish off their round-robin series. So it's going to be interesting what the Flyers do in these next couple of games. Because also in this game, Michael Raffl did take a scary hit into the boards. He was struggling to get up on his own power. He had to be taken off. So Flyers do have a couple days here to figure out what's wrong with Michael Raffl. Definitely would be understandable if they decide to rest him these next few games so he can be more prepared for the actual playoffs. So we're not going to know what the full extent of what's wrong with him probably until tomorrow, maybe another day or two. So it'll probably be nice to rest him. And even if you rest Michael Raffl, you got Joel Farabee sitting on the benches. Joel Farabee, a young gun, a young stud, that could just be put right into the lineup. Granted, he is young. He is definitely going to make rookie mistakes. He doesn't have the experience like Michael Raffl does. But still, the Flyers have so much depth. It's not even funny. You have the top line, Coots, Giroux, Voracek. Then you get Hayes, Laughton, Konechny. If you can't shut those guys down, or if those guys do get shut down, you have the bottom 6 that can chip in. Grant, JVR, Pitlick, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, Nate Thompson chipped in. You got Michael Raffl and Joel Farabee. And the defensemen, the way they've been playing, they're shaping up to be something very special too. That defensive core. What Matt Niskanen has done for Ivan Provorov, the way he has transcended his game, the way to make him more comfortable, the way Travis Sanheim and Phil Myers are developing as their own pair. And Robert Haig, you really can't complain about him that much. He's been very, very solid. Granted, he does make the mistake from time to time, but he has been very solid. This defensive core is very good, and same thing with Justin Braun. He's bringing in that veteran leadership. He's helping with the young guys. It's really good. You could say the same thing about Brian Elliott. He's doing a fantastic job with helping Carter Hart. A fantastic job. And maybe, I think Alain Vigneault did said he wants to give Brian Elliott at least one of these round-robin games. Who knows if it's going to be against Washington? Who knows if it's going to be against Tampa Bay? In my mind, I do see him putting him more against Washington and giving Carter Hart the start against Tampa Bay. But who knows? He could start Hart against Washington, Elliott against Tampa Bay. Who knows? You could probably start Hart all 3 games. But I do see more of the later side. Moose is going to get one of these games so he can remain fresh. But then Hart is the guy going down the straight forward. Hart is the guy going into the playoffs. It's his net to lose, basically. And I feel like Carter Hart is going to do something fantastic this playoffs. He looks to do something special. It's been so long since we've had a goaltender in this city. Basically, the last long-term goaltender we've had in this city was Ron Hextall. It's been that long. Going through guys like Antero Niittymaki, Steve Mason, Michael Layton. It's Ilya Bryzgalov, Michael Neuvirth. It's nice to have an actual goaltender right now. It's very nice. So, what are your thoughts on this video? What are your thoughts on the Flyers beating the Boston Bruins by a score of 4-1? What are your thoughts on the team? What do you think they can do going into the playoffs? What are your expectations for them in the rest of the round robin series? So, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Don't forget to comment in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time. Feel the shake.